Good day, everyone. We are the Sci Geeks, and we will present the biogeochemical cycle assigned to our group, the carbon cycle. Carbon is the fundamental element of life, as an organic matter and composing the carbon-based life forms. Meanwhile, the carbon cycle refers to the movement of carbon through different reservoirs. It is mostly stored in the atmosphere as carbon dioxide and methane. These carbons can then be transferred to the biosphere via photosynthesis in plants, which use carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce sugars. Animals then consume plants for energy, resulting in a transfer of carbon among various living organisms. Plants can return carbon to the atmosphere via cellular respiration in the form of carbon dioxide. The oceans also use aquatic plants and planktons to accumulate carbon, which is then deposited on the seafloor. Furthermore, the lithosphere is a carbon reservoir due to rocks such as limestones and fossil fuels in the form of coals formed from plant and animal decay that have been deposited millions of years within the Earth. These carbons can then be naturally transferred back to the atmosphere via volcanic eruptions or anthropogenic processes when buried fossil fuels are extracted and used for energy in factories via combustion, which then spits carbon back into the atmosphere. Now, let us talk about the altered carbon cycle. Carbon cycling is distinguished by small but highly active reservoirs. It is extremely vulnerable to anthropogenic disturbances. It can alter weather and climate, affecting all life forms in the long run. Deforestation is one of the major changes in the carbon cycle that has a significant impact on the transfer of carbons to various reservoirs. This anthropogenic process of removing trees and plants causes a massive problem for the cycle. Because plants are the primary source of carbons for all biotic elements, decreasing their numbers reduces the number of carbons passed down to other living organisms. Furthermore, rather than acting as carbon sinks, absorbing excess carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, this process emits even more of this harmful gas, amounting to 4.8 billion tons per year, or 8 to 10% of total annual human-caused emissions. Furthermore, while the excessive use of fossil fuels is a major energy source for humans, the environment, particularly the atmosphere, suffers significantly. According to Climate Earth of 2022, fossil fuel burning industries accounted for 89% of global CO2 emissions in 2018. This increase in CO2 emissions may react with the ocean-atmosphere direct exchange, resulting in ocean acidification. Therefore, when this altered biogeochemical cycle is combined with climate change, it increases the vulnerability of biodiversity, food security, human health, and water quality. First, the preservation and sustainable use of biodiversity and the equitable sharing of the benefits of genetic resources are the foundations of sustainable development and human well-being. It demonstrates how climate change will most likely hamper the achievement of sustainable development. Climate change, according to projections, will mainly hurt individuals who rely on biodiversity for a living, particularly those who rely on access to resources such as food, water, and shelter. Impacts on labor productivity and natural resources are likely to slow economic growth, making it more difficult for people to get ahead financially. Second, the vast majority of the world's population is fed through the current food system, which also provides for the livelihoods of billions of people. Climate change is already affecting food security, as evidenced by rising temperatures, altered precipitation patterns, and an increase in the frequency of some extreme events. Climate extremes have immediate and long-term effects on the livelihoods of disadvantaged and vulnerable populations, increasing the likelihood of food insecurity. Third, human health also becomes vulnerable since humans interact with the carbon cycle in a variety of ways. We can now see changes in many aspects of our planet as a result of humans having a tremendous negative influence on altering the carbon cycle, which resulted in climate change, such as the burning of fossil fuels for electricity and transportation or land development. These changes have occurred in 3 natural carbon storage spaces: the atmosphere, the ocean, and the land. Each of these containers is undergoing a carbon exchange. When one becomes saturated, another absorbs the excess carbon. However, the health of ecosystems and humans may suffer as a result of excessive carbon absorption. Therefore, the effects of altered carbon cycles in combination with climate change pose a threat to human health by affecting the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the weather we experience. Lastly, as highly active reservoirs, the continued accumulation of altered carbon cycles, combined with climate change, will result in changes in water quality. According to NASA's Earth Observatory, humans have directly and chemically absorbed approximately 30% of the excess carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere. Carbonic acid is formed in the ocean due to the dissolution of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide increases not only the temperature of the oceans but also the acidity of the water. If not, a slightly acidic ocean becomes slightly less acidic. Furthermore, a strong interaction between climate change and altered biogeochemistry, as well as environmental and ecological concerns like freshwater and marine eutrophication or unintentional fertilization of aquatic ecosystems, can lead to water quality issues. With that said, we cannot ignore the problems of biodiversity loss, food insecurity, human health issues, and poor water quality. And as students, we can help to solve these issues in the following ways. First, we must eat healthy. As college students in Baguio, where most of us, if not all, are away from home, we have no choice but to prepare our food. Instead of processed snacks, we can focus on eating protein, fibrous carbs, and healthy fats at each meal. Price matching at different grocery stores and meal prepping can help students eat healthy on a budget. Second, waste management is a must, and we can help reduce these issues as students by recycling. For example, aside from reusing items that are still usable, we can buy products made from recycled materials. Start by recycling plastic, paper, wood, and metal to make a difference. Moreover, campaigning for recycling programs in our communities may also be helpful. Aside from recycling, we can also reduce plastic use. Plastic packaging is one of the most common types of waste we encounter daily, and we can avoid it by limiting our use of plastics. We can shop at a grocery store that does not use plastic packaging. We can also buy at stores that allow us to bring our bags, jars, and other reusable packaging. Third, we can help and be a voice. As students, we can volunteer and join numerous organizations in our community working toward the greener tomorrow. We can volunteer our time to help improve our neighborhood. Finally, we can donate to non-profit organizations that work to protect biodiversity all over the world. However, not all students can contribute financially. Therefore, we can also consider donating non-perishable healthy food items as a great way to give back. The food pantries that we have nowadays provide donated food to families experiencing food insecurity, allowing them to stretch their budgets. These may appear to be demanding changes to make in one's life, but these are only a small sample of what we can do on a student level to alleviate these problems. We are a part of this planet, and our actions affect not only the world around us, but also our future. If everyone tries to make a little change, then a little bit can go a long way. Again, we are the Sci Geeks. Thank you for listening.